Welcome to Top Advisor Marketing, where you will learn how to become a prolific online influencer, attract more ideal clients, and grow your practice. Brought to you by Top Advisor Podcasting, a done-for-you podcasting solution built just for trusted advisors. And now, your co-hosts of Top Advisor Marketing, Kirk Lowe and Matt Halloran.
Hello and welcome to episode number 56. Today we have a very, very special guest, somebody outside of the financial services sector, which makes me really happy because it always gives us a fresh, new perspective. Her name is Ginzburg. She is the CEO of Ginzburg Marketing, and she's been in digital marketing space for over 10 years, servicing clients, working with partners, and managing strategy. She is a serial entrepreneur and digital marketing expert, helping companies scale revenue, optimize sales, and marketing processes to improve productivity. Now, she's worked with many startups and Fortune 500 companies, but the super cool thing that happened is her and I connected on LinkedIn. I found out that she's launching this book, right, which is called Win New Customers, How to Attract, Connect, and Convert More Prospects into Customers in 60 Days Using Digital Marketing. She's an Amazon #1 bestseller. You all know that we are digital marketing fanatics here, and we know that we have to bring in fresh new ideas and any resource we can to provide our Top Advisor Marketing audience, at least to convince you how important having a strong digital footprint is. And Jean is that expert. So Jean, thank you very much for being here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be on the show, and Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. It's, sometimes I sit back and think to myself, oh my gosh, it's 2018 already. And then other times I say, dear God, thank God it's 2018 already.
2017 has flown by for me. It was crazy. It was a lot of great things going on, a lot of changes for me. The book was one of them, definitely. But yeah, 2017 flew by, and let's see how 2018 goes.
So this book here is a groundbreaking book, not just for you, but also for the industry. I mean, you wouldn't be a #1 Amazon bestseller if you didn't have some pretty flippin' amazing content in here. But we need to kind of get this focused. And I want you to give us a little bit of philosophy behind the book before I start asking you specific questions about the book. So where did the idea of writing this book come from? Why did you want to write the book? And give us a little bit of preview of what's in there.
Absolutely. So the idea of writing the book, probably I've had for at least a couple of years now. I wanted to write a book for a while, and the opportunity came to me. I met somebody also through social media, through the online marketing space, who does that. He's a coach, and he helps entrepreneurs like myself and experts in a certain field write a book, and helps them with the Amazon piece, with the create space piece, and just getting the book out there in general. So I connected with him, and he helped me with the process, which was super helpful. I think that really kind of gave me the push to move forward with it. But why did I want to write the book? The reason is I've been doing this digital marketing for 11 years almost. It's going to be 11 years in February. And on my own, as part of my agency for the last 4.5 years. And over those 4.5 years, I've worked with a bunch of private clients, and I've developed this framework, which is what I've been using for my private clients to grow their businesses. And I felt like, it would be selfish of me to just keep everything to myself and keep it all in my head. So I wanted to download it into a book, and I'm actually probably going to also do a digital course down the line in 2018. That's also going to be like a more in-depth overview and in-depth details of how to win new customers. But talking about the book, yeah, I wanted to share it with the world, because I thought this is going to be so helpful for entrepreneurs, for your audiences, for so many people out there who own a business, that it would be so beneficial for them. So that's why I wanted to write the book. And in terms of what's in the book, I go through the framework, like I said, that I've been using for my private clients. We talk about your ideal target market, how to find it, how to create a worksheet around it. We talk about creating content. We also talk about Facebook advertising and nurture funnels and retargeting and analytics. So those are all important pieces that I help my clients with on a daily basis.
For those of you who are avid fans of the show and who listen to this podcast regularly, once again, another person who is a digital marketing expert, a person who is a marketing expert, who is reinforcing some of the messages that Kirk and I have talked about in this podcast over and over again. But brass tacks, so getting down to it, I'm going to ask you the question of all questions. Are you ready for this?
Sure.
How do I get more customers digitally?
Well, we can talk a little bit about the details of it. So I guess, sorry, the overview, and then we can get into the details.
Okay.
But basically, we want to start with our ideal target market, because that's really going to be the main point. Is if we are doing marketing and it's not relevant to our ideal target market, then it's not going to work, and it's going to be basically just flushing money down the drain. So really the first point that we do when I engage with a new client or customer is that we develop the ideal customer profile and dissect their pain points and frustrations. Also, that's an important piece, because once we understand what their pain points and frustrations are, it's a lot easier to get the message across to them, because they're also going to feel like we know what we're talking about, and we're there to solve and help them with their pain points and frustrations. Then we get into the content. So we create content around those pain points and frustrations, and we address them. And that can be in the forms of videos, blog posts, articles, case studies. I mean, there's a whole slew of what the format can be, although video has been working very well lately. Then we engage the prospects with the content, and we use social media. We use Facebook advertising to bring them into the fold and get them engaged with us so they can learn about our brand, our products, our services, the company. And then we create a nurture funnel on the back end, so that way when people are actually coming to the fold, they're being nurtured through this particular funnel, and they're again learning about the brand and the mission and the vision. And then we fill this funnel with Facebook ads, and that's a big part of the strategy as well, is running some sort of paid media. And then we use remarketing methods to bring users back into the funnel. So maybe they've engaged with you on your social media, or maybe they've watched a video of yours but haven't taken any action. So we remarket them with the next step in the process. Perhaps maybe it's an opt-in, and then we review the analytics and optimize the campaign. So I'd say that's the general overview of the framework that's in the book, and that's also what I've been using with my private clients.
All right, so let's dive into some of those independently. So number one, let's talk about the ideal client profile. So we've talked about psychographics and demographics here, and since you're using Facebook ads as your foundation, what sort of questions do you ask? Now, not trying to have you, give up all of your secrets here, but give us some ideas on how you can trigger good thought and constructive thought so that people can flesh out this idea of this ideal client profile.
Sure. So first, let's take a step back. First, I would say, we want to get into the demographic information first. What is their marital status? What's their geolocation? What's their age? What's their genders? First, we want to get into that and narrow down a little bit more. We have, let's say, maybe it's moms, ages 30 to 45 or something like that. And then we want to get into of course, the pain points and the frustrations. What is your product or service solving for them? And then what is the problem that they're having, and what is the issue? So one of the things that I do with my clients is that, we do surveys with their current customers or their prospects. And we first ask open-ended questions about, what is your top challenge with X? What is your top challenge with finances? What is your top challenge as a business owner with digital marketing? So first we ask open-ended questions, and then as we ask these and we get the results back, we start to see a trend. So probably there's going to be a whole bunch of questions that are going to be, my problem with digital marketing is Facebook advertising. And so we then categorize them, and so it becomes, one of the answers becomes Facebook advertising. Another answer might be email marketing, and then another answer might be content. And then as we refine the survey, then we can start asking the question and doing then a drop-down menu or just a checkbox. It's well, my problem with digital marketing is Facebook advertising. Okay. Or my problem with finances is keeping a budget every month or something like that, whatever it might be. So that's basically how we start the getting to know the customer or the prospect, is through the surveying.
Many of our clients are very, very fixated on demographics versus psychographics. So they're much more fixated on the opportunity when it comes to age and then overall net worth or assets. If I just kind of throw you that loop and say, okay, Gene, what is the best way to flesh that stuff out? Now, I know that Facebook, because of the way that they have their ads set up, they roughly know those things, but through your questionnaires or your drop downs, how would you suggest that our audience tease out the right demographic on that? Or do we just rely on Facebook's algorithm specifically?
Well, I don't know if I mean, it is important, I guess, to understand like your demographics, but I don't know if initially it's really that important, because first you want to open it up to everybody, and then as you, let's say, as you do the surveying, as you run the ads, then you'll start to see who is engaging with your content more. And you can see that within the Facebook advertising reporting. You can actually see, okay, ages 25 to 35 women have been engaging more with my content than anybody else on Facebook. So it will start narrowing down itself, because the right audiences will start engaging with your content, and then you can start seeing. So I would recommend not narrowing it down right away, because you might be off, right? Maybe it's not, women 55 plus. Maybe it's women 35 to 45 that are actually more interested in your content than women 55 plus.
Now, let's talk about time frame of success. So from beginning of your process, how long does it take before we start seeing results from your marketing?
Well, what do results mean? I mean, we can start writing an opt-in campaign.
That was totally an open-ended question, because I wanted to see where you were going with that. I wasn't trying to throw you under the bus. It's just, as a fellow marketer, I get asked that question all the time. Well, how do I know when this works? So let's talk about that. How do you quantify that your stuff is getting to the right people and in those sorts of things?
One of the main things that we do is we run opt-in campaigns, or we call lead magnet campaigns, which is we don't ask for the sale right away. We nurture that individual. We offer them some free content, some value in the beginning, give them like a free gift, if you will, or free gifts. And then we ask them for their email address, and we offer them additional value in the form of content. And then we get them into, let's say, an email marketing funnel and funnel them over a period of time. So initially, let's say we do a lot of Facebook advertising campaigns that run to landing pages that have opt-ins. So those you can start seeing results immediately. I've been running campaigns for a bunch of different clients and seeing as opt-ins as low as like $1.50 for cold traffic. I mean, yeah, it's quite possible. Again, it depends. That's why we go through the first initial points of content, of identifying your target market. If you got all those things right and you got all of those points refined, then yeah, it's going to be very easy for you to start running Facebook campaigns and getting leads for, I don't know, a couple bucks or something like that, which is actually a really good cost per lead initially.
Yeah, that's magnificent. Yeah.
Absolutely. But again, that's why we have to make sure we understand who our target market is, because even if we create a great, awesome marketing campaign on Facebook, if we're targeting the wrong audiences, it's not going to be relevant to them, and they're not going to reciprocate back.
Let's talk about content. In our industry, we have a major issue with compliance. So everything, just about every advisor has to go through compliance. How strongly do you feel about organic content creation versus repurposing other people's content?
I think that it should be a good mix, a balance.
Okay.
Yes, I do believe that you should be creating your own content. And I know that is time consuming, but at the same time, that's when your prospects, your potential customers really get to know you, especially through, let's say, if you're doing video, if you're writing, that they get to know your personality, they get to know your approach. So it is important, I believe, to be doing original content yourself. But absolutely, if there's great articles out there, if there's great case studies out there, if there's other people who are talking about the same things in your industry, then I think it's absolutely awesome to be repurposing that content as well. I do that all the time too. So it's not just my original content.
Well, and now I have seen what you're publishing, and what you're publishing is still, it's not, I mean, and I agree with you. It's not organic per se, or it's not something entirely from you, but I've seen a lot of times where you will make comments like, hey, I really liked this article because blankety, 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 blank, and then you share the article, right? Does that help from an SEO perspective? Does just repurposing... Okay, so I need to get a little bit more down and dirty with this. So a lot of times broker-dealers, which are the companies that advisors generally kind of work for, and I'm air quoting there, will say, here's the approved content you're allowed to share on social media, and they'll have 10,000 advisors who are putting out the same thing. And those people are putting it out on Facebook. Do you know if that helps them or does that hurt them?
On Facebook, you can put the same content out. I believe that Google will ding you for that if you're putting it on your website. Okay. Or also you can't do that for YouTube. Let's say if you have the exact same video and it's exactly the same number of seconds and minutes, then you won't be able to post that on YouTube as well. So, but for Facebook, yeah, you can repurpose the same content and put it up there, absolutely. I don't believe that Facebook will ding you for that.
Okay.
But at the same time, I don't know if that's really beneficial and valuable to your prospects and your potential customers, because if they're all seeing the exact same content out there, then that's not, I don't think, just in a general perspective, not very valuable.
Right. Well, and it's not personal, right? So I love how you were talking about, women, mothers, ages, 30 to 35. What they're looking for from a financial services perspective is probably not an in-depth S&P market analysis on the beta of Johnson & Johnson, right? They're probably looking for something a little bit more along the lines of long-term financial planning, protection for your family, maybe just some good budgeting techniques or some ideas along those lines. So creating that original content, it really goes back to know your client, right? I mean, that's exactly what you're talking about. And I was so excited when we talked before, because a huge component of what you do is that discovery process, right? Really helping people find that ideal client. And we do that at Top Advisor Marketing. Most good marketing companies will do that, much like what you do, because I don't want to throw good money after bad, right? I don't want to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on Facebook and not get any sort of, results in any way, shape, or form, because I'm, it's like I'm going into the middle of the Pacific Ocean with a net and I'm hoping to catch a whale, right? What you help with is you help know where the whale is, help you get right to that whale so that when you're going for the whale, you're going to get it. So I love that. You and I are kindred spirits with that, and it makes me very happy. Honestly, Gene, that I'm just not crazy. I mean, I think that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that you pointed was also understanding like the customers or the prospects' journeys. For example, the problems and the issues that, let's say, a 30-year-old mom is having is going to be completely different than the issues that, let's say, a 55-year-old woman who is a empty nester is having, because they're going through different journeys in their lives. And so they're looking, and obviously, like you said, a mom who's 30 might be talking about budgeting and saving long-term for her family. A woman who is 55, might have already, made her wealth at that point, and maybe she's looking at investing in stocks or something like that. So absolutely also thinking about what are the problems that your prospect is having at that particular point in their lives as well. Now,
one of the biggest things that my advisors keep asking me is, where do business owners play? So from a social media perspective, Gene, if I want to get the attention of small to mid-sized family-owned businesses, which from either an email campaign nurture sequence, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, do you have any idea where those people reside so I could get their attention a lot quicker?
Sure. I would still go back to Facebook.
Okay,
and
good.
I know that I'm a big proponent of that now, but that's really the reason, is because it just has amazing targeting. And I also think and know that people are hanging out on Facebook. So even if you're looking for B2B clients, there's a bit of a misnomer, I believe, in our industry, is that if you're on Facebook, then it's only B2C. Well, that's not true, because people who are business owners probably still have a Facebook account, even though they might be business owners, and you're doing B2B marketing to them. So absolutely, I still do B2B marketing on Facebook. And the reason, again, for Facebook is that it has amazing targeting capabilities, because you can find very niche, granular targeting there and target those individuals that you're looking for. LinkedIn is pretty good too, but it doesn't have really the robust capabilities that Facebook has. Twitter, I don't really use Twitter because it doesn't really have targeting capabilities. Again, like, everything's going to boil down to the data. So any platform that has the most data will probably be the more successful one.
Wonderful. Yeah, I have personally not had a huge amount of success advertising on Twitter. And Facebook's algorithm and their search capabilities, when I walk advisors through this, they get scared. They're like, Matt, how do they know this about me? I'm like, well, when something's free, buddy, they're going to be harvesting your data.
You pay a price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I maybe this is just, George Orwell's 1984, the antithesis of that. I don't mind, because I like it when I'm on Facebook and they give me an ad that's applicable to me. I'm so tired. Like, here's a great example. Before Facebook decided to make the changes that they made, I was getting advertisements for yoga pants all the time. Now, I don't wear yoga pants, nor should I. And I don't purchase yoga pants. And I have actually never purchased yoga pants. Now, that's different for my wife, obviously, or other people that I know. But I was so tired of seeing the same ad, and I would keep clicking on it saying, I don't want to see this, I don't want to see this, I don't want to see this. And I think Facebook finally got wise to it, that Matt Halloran doesn't wear yoga pants. But I do have other things that show up, like my wife is a biology teacher, and I love finding cool, nerdy science things for her. And so I get these cool ads of these cool, nerdy science things that my wife would love to put in her classroom. And I find that very valuable. And in financial services, so much of the information is just tripe, right? It's just the same regurgitated stuff that most people don't interact with. But the advisors that I have worked with who are doing what you teach in your book, they're real people. And I like that you talked about the balance between the two, between organic content and inorganic content, because you said, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm not quoting you directly here, Gene, but then they get to know you, right? Social media is social. I'm assuming if you're a CFP or if you're a financial advisor, I'm assuming you at least moderately know your stuff. I want to know you as a human being. I want to know who you are in your heart of hearts. I want to know what you believe in. I want to know what you like to do for fun. Because if we have that super awesome connection point, honestly, like you and I do, you and I were messaging through LinkedIn. We're both social media geeks. You wrote a book on social media. I wrote a book on social media. Of course, we're going to talk about this stuff, right? I mean, it's like kindred spirits. Financial advisors and business owners are in the same situation. So let's talk a little bit more about content, because I want to dive into that just a smidge more. Mm-hmm. If you were to use a rule of the level of personalization or personability or just personal information, what do you consult your clients with that? So again, a business owner, how much of what they should share, or where do you draw the line on the level of how personal that information should get?
That's a good question, but I think what we want to get to really is a good story, right? I mean, we're all human. One of the things that we all relate to is storytelling, and that's, I believe, really where marketing is. It's not really about sell, buy. It's like how we connect is really through storytelling, and if a marketer or a business has a good story, then that's really where I believe the rubber meets the road for the prospect. So how deep should you go? I think as long as it's relevant to the story that you're telling, then I think it's absolutely okay to talk about some personal things. I talk about personal things in my videos sometimes. I try to focus, of course, more on how is this bringing value to the people who are watching my videos. But at the same time, if there's a good story and there's some personal things in it, then absolutely, I think it's absolutely appropriate. And would your audiences be able to do that? Like, can they do videos, or does it have to be everything have to be approved and compliance beforehand?
Well, yeah, it has to be approved generally beforehand, but it's easier for them to get personal stuff approved, right? So for instance, we've got a client right now who actually, he's an old client of mine who raises puppies for prison reform. It's Puppies to Prisons is the name of it. It's just this freaking awesome thing. And they're beautiful puppies. And so but that's a huge core value of who he is. And he posts that on his business page. Hey, we have a new litter of puppies, if you want to donate, or, if you want to come and help and socialize and those things. Those posts get huge attention. And then what happens is people say, oh, and he's also a financial advisor. So they go back through. It's easier for advisors to get their personal stuff approved than it is if they're talking about a specific stock, bond, mutual fund, investment technique, insurance product, because that's where the regulation really lies. So Kirk and I, my business partner, and I we've been polling people to see if there's like a Pareto principle where it's like an 80-20 rule, right? So 80% of your stuff should be personal, 20% should be professional, or should it be the other way? Should it be 50-50? And so we're just trying to gauge experts like you on that sort of stuff. So I'm not going to put you on the spot for a statistic, because there's another question that I have for you based off your book that I kind of want to wrap up with today, which is retargeting. Now, this is something I don't think our audience is familiar with. So can you define what that is and how businesses can use it?
Absolutely. And I think retargeting is the secret that a lot of maybe businesses who are not in the digital marketing space don't know about, which I think if I were to mention what it is would just be eye-opening for people. So retargeting is the ability to, how you talked about in previously how you're talking to someone and you were like, oh, they know so much about me. How does Facebook know so know so much about me. Well, it's kind of a similar concept. So when we do retargeting, we place a piece of code on a website, and then we can track. Again, we don't know the people's names or anything like that, but we're tracking generally when people are coming to our site, when they're engaging with us on social media, when they're watching our videos, and we can retarget that pool. Again, we don't know exactly, I don't know that it's Joe Schmo who's watching my video. I just know that I have a pool of 100 people who have watched my video on Facebook, for example, and I can re-engage with them because they have already shared an interest in my content, for example. So there's a few ways of retargeting, for example. So you can place, let's say, a Facebook pixel on your website, and you can retarget the audiences who have been to your website. On Facebook, you can retarget people who have watched your video or videos. You can also retarget people who have, let's say, been to your Facebook page. Let's say if you have a business Facebook page, you can retarget users who have engaged with your Facebook page. And you can also upload your email list. So for example, if you have an email list for your business, like you, let's say, accumulated over a period of time, you can upload it into Facebook, and Facebook will match up the email addresses for users who are Facebook users, and that will also be an additional audience that you could retarget. And the reason for that is they're, cold audiences, warm and hot. So cold audiences are people who have never heard of you, don't know who you are, don't know anything about you. But as they get warmer, they've engaged with you, they've been to your site, they've watched your video or something like that, then they become warm audiences. And it's much easier to convert warm audiences into paying customers or to clients versus having to do it with cold audiences.
Gotcha. Brilliant. We've talked about pixel tracking a couple of different times, but not to that level of detail. So that was awesome. That's kind of the golden nugget of today's podcast. Gene, I hope everybody stops and rewinds. I'm aging myself there because this isn't a cassette, but you can rewind and listen to this over and over again. And that little section right there was brilliant. I want to thank you for a number of reasons. Number one, thank you so much for sharing your thought leadership about something that our industry has still a major issue with. I still will have advisors tell me all the time, digital marketing is it's not effective. And you and I both know, of course, that that's not correct. But since you're so flippin' awesome, you also were going to do something really nice for our listeners. Would you mind sharing what that is?
Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm giving away my book for free to all your audiences who are listening. It's going to be in PDF format, so I would love for you to download it. It's an instant download. So if you go to my website, it's GeneGinzburg.com/top advisor marketing. So GeneGinzburg.com/top advisor marketing. You can put the URL also in the show notes. But yeah, if you go to that page, just click on the Facebook Messenger button, and once you're there, you can download the book, and it's absolutely free, and you can read it right away. And I hope that you take the valuable content in it and absolutely use that for your business.
Gene also has some really, really great videos, everybody. So, Gene, what is your YouTube channel?
My YouTube channel is youtube.com/Gene Ginzburg.
Good.
So, or you can just go to YouTube and search for my name, Gene Ginzburg. Oh, you can also get in touch with me on Facebook or on LinkedIn. Facebook, Gene Ginzburg, digital marketing expert. Same thing with LinkedIn, Gene Ginzburg, digital marketing expert. So feel free to search for those, and I would love to get in touch with you. And if you have any questions, of course, anybody who's listening, I'm happy to answer digital marketing questions.
Absolutely. And please take advantage of this, everybody. I mean, this is, our goal here with the Top Advisor Marketing Podcast is to bring thought leaders on who can provide great ideas and actionable things for all of you to execute so that 2018 will be your year for digital marketing. Gene, thank you very much for your time today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on the show. This was awesome, and I hope this was valuable for your audiences and everybody who is listening, and make 2018 an awesome year.
Fantastic. Well, this has been episode number 56 with Gene Ginzburg. She is the CEO of Ginzburg Digital Marketing. And please, 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 please find her on LinkedIn. For those of you who are already connected with me on LinkedIn, I'm already connected with her. You can find her in my contacts list, and I will be more than happy to send it to you if you need it. But even better, we're going to put all of those links in our show notes, so make sure you double check those out. And also, if you have not subscribed to the podcast yet, 2018 is going to be the year where we're going to be putting out more and more and more of these podcasts. So every time that we do, they will show up on your listening device. All you have to do is subscribe using whatever medium, iTunes, SoundCloud, what else are we on? Podbean, all of those different things. And let's make 2018 the year for digital marketing. And for that, for Kirk Lowe, this is Matt Halloran, Top Advisor Marketing Podcast. Thank you, and we'll see you on the other side of the mic very soon.